I'm Nancy here with St. Mark's Episcopal Church in Glen Ellen, and I have, with some other people, I've done a little bit of work on accountability regarding the Forest Preserve. It may seem like a dramatic shift from workforce development in DuPage County to the forest preserves, but it's about using our limited resources for the greater good. I love walking near the lakes and the forest preserves. I'm sure many of you have enjoyed boating, picnics, sledding in our forest preserves. We consider the forest preserves to be a treasure, a precious resource, but we have concerns about the district's use of tax dollars. Last November, about 400 DuPage United leaders and supporters gathered seeking public commitments from the candidates who were running for the Forest Preserve Commissioner. We wanted to address specific concerns which we had done a great deal of research regarding. Our biggest concern was the lack of response and accessibility with the President and the former Finance Director. We were not able to get complete and satisfactory answers, even when we submitted requests under the Freedom of Information Act. 3 new board members were elected, and DuPage United leaders met with each one of them. Since the new board was installed, there seems to be an increased interest to make positive changes. One commissioner, Shannon Burns, has actively led some of these changes and has reached out to DuPage United. Shannon Burns has actively led some of these changes. She and the other 2 new commissioners, Tim Whalen and Mary Lou Worley, encouraged the President to meet with DuPage United. Commissioner Burns arranged meetings with Forest Reserve officials, first with the President and then with the current Finance Director. Being able to meet with the President and Finance Director was significant because in the past, the President and the former Finance Director had refused to meet with us. You can check the back of your program for specifics on our recommendations. We are currently working with Commissioner Burns to address some of the recommendations that we made to the Forest Preserve District. These are conducting an internal audit of day-to-day operations, implementing performance measurement policies for each department, establishing an ordinance to prohibit campaign contributions from those who are in business or seeking contracts with the Forest Preserve, getting commissioners' salaries in line with surrounding Forest Preserve boards, and establishing a policy for the reserved fund. Commissioner Burns is with us tonight to share what she and other commissioners have done to make the Forest Preserve District more transparent and efficient, and we're going to welcome her now. Dr. Burns?
Preserve in tonight's presentation. I am so excited to be here. The Forest Preserve, for the first time, literally in history, has got unprecedented changes with this new administration. We have 50% new board members, first time ever. We have got new executive directors since we hired one. First time in 10 years and first time since the board has been separate from the county. There's an interesting problem about, a dilemma about change though, and that is that in the public, and I'm part of the public, just like you, when I say I want change, what I want is a big change that I can see right away. But in fact, effective change happens in these little tiny invisible baby steps. So that if change is effective and lasting, it happens in such small increments that that big burst of, wow, here's a new change, never really happens. What I can assure you of is that the Forest Preserve is committed in spirit to addressing and to answering the commitments that DuPage United has asked of us. We sometimes need clarification, or we would like more discussion with you about exactly what that means, because we are a complex organization, and I'm learning that every day on the inside. I do not believe as an outside candidate that I had a handle on how complex we were. We are much more than trees and streams and fish and birds. But I can tell you that we have already had an internal audit of one of our departments. We have given that report to DuPage United. We have addressed all of the issues on that one department that the internal audit found were lacking. It seems to be that the current administration and the board is in favor of doing internal audits department by department rather than one big shotgun approach. We seem to work very well by addressing a few things that are wrong and then moving on to the next thing. I also can tell you that I have personally implemented a performance-based system for the Donata Equestrian Center. I proposed that, I've written up a report, the board has accepted it, and we are working to get everything in line at the Donata Equestrian Center performance-based and not just staff performance. We're looking at financial performance, accountability in terms of where money is gone, accountability in terms of horse care, accountability in terms of how we work with volunteers, and how we expect our staff to manage the program. Once that's in place, I expect that we will go to another department and start working there. We are making the changes that you want, that you've asked for, because the new board sees that these changes are necessary. What I can tell you, though, is that these are very complex requests that you have made. They're not simple. They're simple to state, hard to implement in one fell swoop. We are working on them. And if anybody in this room wants to meet with us, my personal cell phone number is on the Forest Preserve website. Look me up, call me up, and we'll get the meeting that you want with the people that you want, and we will honestly address the concerns that you have. One last thing is related to the reserves. As you know, we have about $250 million reserves set aside for landfill mitigation. And we have released the Arcadia report, which is somewhere in the neighborhood of 400 very technical pages